Welcome back to Firepower TV.
Hey, everybody.
Nice to see you again, Will.
Good to be back. Thank you for coming back. And we have a good show planned for today.
Yes, we do. We have several questions from the online audience. And I would like to get your unbiased opinion.
Dig it.
Okay.
Completely unbiased, independent, and objective, too.
Okay. And here's question number 1 from California. How do you propose to leverage Congress's power of the purse and other authorities to change spending priorities and patterns?
That's a good question. The first thing we have to do if we want to hold Congress accountable for better decisions is make sure that Congress knows that they're only there because we, the voters, have put them there, and we have a plan to hold them accountable for actually spending our money properly. Fact of the matter is, Congress does have power of the purse. They can determine spending priorities as well as how they tax us and all of that stuff. And with this 1,500 signature drive, that's all it takes in order to force Congress to come to a town hall meeting where we, the people, can let them know what we expect them to do. So at the VHIERStorm website, we have a petition, again, trying to get 1,500 voters, and a survey where everyone who responds can tell their elected officials exactly what their top priorities are, including their spending priorities, what they would like them to put their money towards, more war, more nation building abroad, or how about infrastructure, housing, healthcare, mental health services, transportation, food, things here in our own community. We, the people, have the power to hold Congress accountable for those decisions once we get them to come to our town hall meeting. And the fired up 1,500 signature drive is exactly how we'll exert that power.
So I heard you mention VHIERSmovement.com. Can you elaborate on the VHIERS movement and spell it out for the people to understand how to get to that particular website?
Okay, VHIERS is an acronym spelled VHIERS. It stands for the Veterans Health Insurance Endowment and Referral Service. And the website is VHIERSmovement.com, VHIERS movement.com, because that's exactly what this is. We recognize that if we got poor and working people, a lot of them are veterans and union members, and let's just call it the 99%. If we got poor and working people to organize and buy as a group through a membership club that's owned by we the people, then that will give us leverage to hold Congress accountable for better decisions. You can learn more about that at our website, VHIERSmovement.com, where you can sign a petition to get your elected official to your town hall meeting, and you can take the survey to make sure they know your priorities so we can hold them accountable for better decisions. So VHIERSmovement.com is the key.
That is really some good information for the listeners to understand what the 1,500 signatures is all about and to go to the VHIERSmovement.com website. I want to get back to the first question because there's actually a part 2. So part 2 from California, I want you to elaborate on a longstanding issue that Congress has historically been reluctant to address, such as allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices.
All right. So you know the most expensive part about healthcare happens to be medications. We pay too much and Medicare can't get discounts for reasons that we can change. The 1,500 signature drive is designed to hold Congress accountable for letting Medicare negotiate for all drugs, not just 10 drugs over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, which is what Biden, president, has proposed. You know, the Defense Production Act allows us to do things like make sure people can get affordable medications easily. And even more importantly, there's nothing that keeps we the people from organizing and buying as a group so that we get volume discounts that Medicare is otherwise denied having access to. So if there's nothing keeping us from buying as a group and we can get Medicare the benefits of volume discounts, that allows us to do things that Congress refuses to do, which gives us leverage over them. And so that's why this movement is so important. It demonstrates that we can get negotiated prices, which generates the savings needed to pay for our entire program. And once you've done that, you've actually proved to Congress we don't need them. So why are they there unless they're going to represent what we, the people, need?
Finally, the third leg to this question is tell us how these sustainable solutions like Medicare drug prices and negotiations could potentially fund your broader agenda.
Okay. Well, because Medicare is not allowed to negotiate for volume discounts and lower prices on medications, they literally spend trillions of dollars a year on things that we taxpayers have already paid for, so they actually should be free. So because we have the ability to organize and buy as a group, That'll generate the savings and the trillions of dollars needed to pay for a domestic agenda important to we the people. So there's nothing keeping us from that other than just organizing and buying as a group. And that's what the VHIERSmovement.com website will lead people to see exactly how to make it real.
Excellent. We have another online question coming out of Salt Lake City, Utah. This is basically on political reform and corruption. So how does your solution address the issue of money in politics?
Question. To overcome the influence of money in politics, you have to show that you can get elected officials thrown out of office if they don't do what the people want. It takes 1,500 signatures or email addresses in a voting district in order to hold them accountable for attending your town hall meeting where you can say either do what we want or we will recall you. So no matter how much money is thrown into the political arena, if we the people can recall elected officials who don't do what we want, in as little as a week, because that's all it takes to get the signatures and let our elected officials who represent us know what we expect them to do. If they're not here for us, then what good is having them on our team? They're on vacation right now, so they're in the communities. So let's get those 1,500 signatures quickly so that we can hold them accountable for better decisions now while they're close to town.
Thank you so much. The next online question comes out of Tacoma, Washington, and this basically deals with economic challenges. So with fears of a looming recession or even depression, how does your approach tackle rising interest rates, the banking crisis, and potential economic instability?
Wow, that's a big one. But the beauty is it really is as easy as giving Medicare the benefits of negotiated prices for all the medications that they purchase, because that would save trillions. That's more than enough for us to give people monthly checks to deal with inflation, more than enough for us to buy some of these failing banks, more than enough for us to take care of the housing and the food crisis, the hunger crisis people are facing. It's more than enough for us to provide transportation for people so they can get to their jobs in ways that are affordable because we, the people, can own the whole infrastructure. In other words, the moment we begin organizing and buying as a group, we will generate enough savings to pay for the entire domestic agenda that we're discussing right now and have money left over to make sure that our banking is done through things like the People's Bank, the U.S. Post Office Bank, and whatever banks we choose to work with, who have relationships with merchants, with consumers, with manufacturers. All of these guys are tied to the U.S. Post Office, who also is tied to everyone who joins our program. So our goal is to have a bank that has no financial interest in exploiting the public, which means we can control interest rates, zero or low interest rates for those who can't afford it. This will allow us to get housing or retail real estate moving again because we can provide low interest rate loans through a bank that's controlled by we the people as opposed to the big money banks, the ones that are actually causing and exploiting financial hardship. We the people and the People's Bank, the U.S. Post Office Bank, can provide low interest rate loans. We can address the banking crisis and quite possibly avoid a recession or depression that survives a crashing dollar. That's what this plan is designed to do. We'll get to that later.
Okay, Blair out of Dallas, Texas. How do you propose to address income inequality and strengthen the social safety net?
Okay. To deal with income inequality and the social safety net, you need to realize that, one, there's no shortage of job seekers like health and social workers, mental health professionals, medical transportation providers, counselors for addiction, depression, trauma. There's people who are in the trades, people who want to help create safe, affordable housing and strengthen the safety net. The problem is no one's creating jobs that pays people to do this work. Well, remember, if we, the people, have a bank and a network and a safety net that provides jobs for people who are looking for work, and if we compensate people fairly for their contributions to the community, all of it's managed through Fire Safe, Fireplace, and fire stations, which happen to be community organizations and safety net programs that use a shared case management system so everyone's on the same page. It's in this way that we can make sure that no matter where you go, that you can get connected to resources where everyone's using the same platform so we can coordinate care and support services. That's how we strengthen the safety net. At the same time, we create jobs because there's no shortage of people who want either jobs or to create their own small business participating in things that will pay them fairly. Well, the dollar's crashing, but remember, if we have our own banking system, then we have the ability to actually compensate people for using their time to help others who join the network. If we do these things, then we create a safety net for the safety net. We compensate people fairly for their contributions. The more you give, the more you get. It's kind of like a cooperative. And this is how we can actually deal with income inequality, how we can create jobs, how we can overcome the challenges that AI is causing as everything is privatized and driven out to virtual meetings. No, we want to get people back connected to one another by creating order out of chaos in local communities.
I hope that makes sense to all of the listeners that are enjoying this podcast.
It makes sense to you?
Yeah, it makes definite sense.
Okay.
I've been in that situation before. We do have several concerns about the environment. I have people from different states such as Arizona, Georgia, California, Nevada. They're really concerned about climate change. So the question basically is, what specific measures does your plan include to combat climate change and promote sustainable practices?
All right, well, I'm going to start with the most obvious thing in the world. Do you know that farting cows are not the reason that global temperatures are rising?
Is that a real thing?
That's a thing. They're actually culling the cattle, saying that they emit too much methane gas. That's why we got to start eating bugs. That's a thing, and it's really stupid because each bomb emits a lot more heat than, cows with flatulence, right? Fact is, if we can get leaders focused on world peace as opposed to mutually assured destruction and are sending our kids to fight in these wars where no one benefits, the world will be a much better place. So the fastest way to avoid catastrophic climate change is to avoid World War III. And thank goodness that the people in our network and on our team are connected to some of the major players as it relates to the provocation and our continuance towards war. Dad actually built the world's largest Ukrainian church, where we met with refugees from Russia, Ukraine, veterans of numerous wars. All of them said point blank that, number one, they would never voluntarily fight in or participating in a war if they weren't first attacked. Number two, there's not one of them who believes that war is good for anything but the elites who cause and exploit us. They trick us into thinking we need to put our lives on the line for things that we get nothing out of. So what are we fighting for? Mutually assured destruction means catastrophic climate change wipes us all out. So why fight that fight if we can pursue peace and quite possibly actually build meaningful relationships with supply chains around the world, all of whom want a ceasefire, all of whom are necessary to get infrastructure and the safety net and the supply chain and all those things needed to have an orderly society in the future. All of this is connected with a solution based on VHIERStorm and a platform designed to create order out of chaos so that we can get our nation back on the right track. And to do that, it just takes 1,500 signatures in each voting district to force the kind of change we need.
And you can also go to VHIERSmovement.com to sign the petition.
And take the survey so we know it's important to you.
Yes. Another online viewer from Memphis, Tennessee. We would like to thank Jan with this question on social issue and inequality. Your solution aims to address homelessness, hunger, and the housing crisis. Can you elaborate on your strategy and how it differs from current approaches?
Wow. Current approaches, they're spending a lot of money and they have nothing to show for it. Our approach is, remember, Medicare can't negotiate for lower drug prices, so they literally spend trillions of dollars for reasons our solution will fix. Well, out of those savings, which will come back to us in the form of social impact bonds and performance-based grants and contracts, because our 100% risk and cost-free insurance plan will be given to anyone who joins. Well, that actually will allow us to have relationships with pretty much everyone out there who's involved in or who participates in the new economy that we'll be creating. So the question was, how will we address homelessness, hunger, and healthcare? Well, out of the trillion saved, we can invest in some of this low-cost real estate that's suddenly available in cities across the nation. It's going at a discount, but no one has the money to pay for it except for those who are elite or those who participate in the VHIERSmovement.com initiative, because 1,500 signatures is all it takes for us to force Congress to start investing in and allowing us to use those resources that are out there in ways that protects us. Because there's no shortage of housing. I think there's a 17 million house surplus, but the private equity firms are buying them up and not allowing people to move in it. And they're using deceptive practices to price gouge and drive rent up so that people can't afford to live in housing that's within reach. The second that we can control the Congress through the 1,500 signature drive, we can address that issue, use Defense Production Act and eminent domain to deal with the hunger and the housing and healthcare crisis, because we will control Congress and they'll be accountable to what we the people want. And that gets us back to one of the earlier questions, how the moment we have Congress understanding what the priorities are of we the people, then we let them know you either do what we want or we're going to replace you. And that is our prerogative to do. We can do all this before the upcoming election, which means pave the way to change that we people want and need. Make sense?
Makes perfect sense. All the way from Miami, Florida, Jose wants to talk about labor and economic policy. What role do unions play in the proposed solutions, and how do you envision their impact on both national and global scales?
Woo! Okay. All right, Jose, thank you. For starters, veterans, like union members, are employees who serve an employer that exploits them. So we realize that if we got all those veterans and union members who deserve better, who want more, who want to be able to hold their employer accountable for treating them the way that they deserve and need to be whole, well, the moment that they get free health insurance through our program, we take insurance off the negotiating table, which leaves a lot more money for union members to get better wages, safer conditions, enough people to do the job, better life-work balance because they can get time off. We can actually pay these corporations to hire enough people to treat the workers better. And it's in this way that we can even cover the costs, not just of insurance, but union fees and co-pays. In fact, what we're trying to do is create a people's union where all the unions can join, so we'd have collective bargaining, and every union out there has an incentive to join us because we will give them the benefits of hundreds of millions of people working together to hold corporations and cities and states accountable for caring for we the people a lot better than they currently are. And what's interesting is that unions, they work our ports, they work our supply chains, they work everything from the big container ships to the trains and the dock workers, and all the way to the house to do delivery. Look, we're working with the U.S. Post Office and postal services of other unions around the world connected to the safety net and supply chain. We actually have the path to mutually assured cooperation and collaboration with other countries as opposed to focusing on destruction. So our goal is to get workers around the world united in a movement that protects the people's interests as opposed to the oligarchs, because we're the ones who are essential to the safety net and supply chain. So we're the ones who can improve lives by working together. So unions around the world will appreciate us, as will unions right here in our own backyard, because we were in it for the people, we the people.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, Will. Thank you for that explanation. Larry from Seattle, Washington has a technology question. How do you see technology contributing to the implementation of your solutions?
Okay. Well, it's an election season, and both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are talking about what's going on at the southern border. What's interesting is there's a technology called VISTA, V-I-S-T-A. It's the VA, the Veterans Administration. It's the VA's health record, and it's the most widely deployed and best supported health technology on the planet. It's so popular that more than 1,700 hospitals, clinics, and nursing homes across the nation were using it. And the same technology that's all over the United States is used by Mexico, which has an integrated health system to run the healthcare services, run the safety net, to deal with all the non-governmental organizations that help poor and working people deal with all this trauma. They have organizations that can easily use the technology if they knew it existed. And our platform is designed to connect the dots. So all those community organizations and safety net programs, if they embrace our case management system, they can collaborate nationwide as well as across the border. And what's wild is the World Health Organization was even using VISTA as recently as a couple of years ago. And so now you have the ability to improve the pandemic response using a technology that's open source, free to the public, and it's been adopted worldwide already. And yours truly happened to be one of the system specialists that the VA hired to help them with their migration to new technology. So it's already out there. And we have solutions that connects us for the future.
Well, thank you for giving us your experience with Vista. We have another viewer that's from Clovis, New Mexico. She has questions about funding and implementation. So how can you fund these ambitious proposals?
Again, it's paid for out of savings. The more who join, the bigger the discounts. And the sooner people join, the sooner we can start giving benefits to people. So this all starts with a membership drive that you can learn about at VHIERSmovement.com, and in particular, VHIERS.org, where FHIERS is an acronym spelled PHIERS. It stands for the People's Health Insurance Endowment and Referral Service. And just as we had an insurance plan for veterans and service members, FHIERS, the People's Health Insurance Plan, is for civilians. It's for everyone else, including unions. So basically, the moment we begin organizing and buying as a group through a membership club that we the people own, operate, it accounts to us, and it's designed to compete with all the profiteers out there, we not only will save Medicare and Medicaid trillions every year, but that's more than enough for us to pay for the entire domestic agenda of people like Dr. Cornel West, Marianne Williamson, and others who believe that healthcare is a human right, that housing is a human right, that having mental health services you can trust is something that's essential to our nation healing. We're all about taking our nation in the right direction in a way that pays for itself out of savings without increasing taxes, raising the debt or deficit, or requiring legislation. That's what we can do without requiring or asking Congress to lift a finger. And that's how we can hold them accountable for better decisions. And that's what gives the fired up 1,500 signature drive leverage to lead the change that our nation and planet desperately needs.
Susan and her husband, Joseph, out in Washington, D.C., has a question on uniting a divided nation. It's actually a two-part question. How do you propose to bridge the current political and cultural divides in our society?
Good question. First of all, we know that the first law of nature is self-preservation, which means that no one wants to suffer. And we also know that we are more alike than different if you're considered poor and working class and watching a video like this. And as a result, we know that we don't want to be cold, hungry, sick, homeless, and then put in the camps where we disappear when they're tired of looking at us, like what's happening across our nation. Okay, so to bridge the gap, recognize that the things that divides us, regardless of age, race, culture, some of this woke stuff, the alphabet things, that's divisive, I want to make sure that you know that if it violates the rights and dignity of others, of parents, if it confuses our kids, those are things that, guess what? The 1,500 signature drive will allow you to have your way. And if the public agrees with what you're doing, then so be it. But for some reason, I believe that a lot of us are conservative and we believe in family values and we want to protect our families and we want to grow, but we are not divisive. So anyway, we'll focus on things that serves our common good. People want health care, they want housing, they want a government they can trust, they want monthly checks to deal with inflation, they want to know that if they get sick, they won't go poor, they want to be cared for and not experimented on, and they want to know that their government will stop manufacturing wars and then send us to fight while they laugh and we destroy ourselves. No, we're going to have a government that we can trust, and that's something that poor and working people need now that AI is getting rid of all our jobs. They want to do something with the people. We're giving people something that serves our collective best interest and our common good. And it's in this way that we believe that our plan can get our nation back on the right track. Did I answer the question?
Yes, you did. We have a viewer from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Juanita wants to know, looking ahead, how do you see solutions evolving over time to address future challenges?
All right, well, as we started, we were talking about how this is a local solution that's based on the 1,500 signature drive and survey where people in every voting district across the nation take the survey and they fill it out regularly so that we can make sure that our elected officials know exactly what's important to us in real time. If we do that, then as new needs emerge, then we will continue to hold our elected officials accountable for doing what we need them to do to protect our interests. And it's in that way that we're ready for the future because we will always have elected officials who protect, respect, and reflect our interests when they're in D.C., as opposed to the interests of the donors who cause and exploit financial hardship, who make and keep us sick for profit, who've tricked us into thinking that farting cows are the reason global warming is real. It's all these bombs, this imperialism. They're doing really bad things. And while we're on that topic, I want to talk about the culture war and the fact that our nation is divided for reasons that hopefully this video series will help people realize that, even though we, as American descendants of slavery, as the ones that the world thinks has the least value to offer humanity, we supposedly have the lowest IQs. We're good for free labor, filling prisons, entertainment, athletics, Whatever, that's beside the point. The fact of the matter is we're given a vision, we're given solutions that no one can compete with or outperform as it relates to positive impact on society. To all of those who think that we're inferior, we invite you to join us in the marketplace of ideas so we can compare and contrast the positive impact of our solutions, our thinking on the lives of you and your loved ones, because we love everybody. We're here to heal the world, and the fact that y'all think we are the weak link, if you all can't generate more gratitude and humanizing what we're bringing to the table, then how in the hell can you say we're inferior? We're fighting for all of us. We're fighting against war. We're fighting for a safety net and a supply chain. We're fighting to make sure we fix our infrastructure and get our unions strong and working together so that we can have a safety net and housing and food and all the things necessary for society to be on the right track. And to the degree that none of the people who are running for office are talking this way, except for Dr. Cornel West and Marianne Williamson, what I say is that if we got the independents, the Democrats, and Republicans who don't want Donald Trump or Kamala Harris to ascend, this is a plan that will help us overcome the effects of the two-party duopoly, because we believe that there's more independents and more good-hearted people in the center that will adopt this than there are people on the far left or far right that are driving these divided politics. Our goal is to get people to focus on what serves our common good, because when we do that, you realize that we're better together, and divided we fall, and what we have is a best fit solution to numerous challenges facing society. And we stand 100% behind Dr. West and Marianne. I would love it if they would collaborate in a new kind of political party, one that will compete directly against the two-party duopoly. We think we can win.
We know we can win.
Dang, that's what I'm talking about.
That's why we need participation from the viewers. If you like this video, we would love for you to
give us a thumbs up.
Hey. And a like, and share the video. And also, I would like to thank Will for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
good to be here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We just love to hear your views on everything that goes on.
There's a lot of stuff going on, but check it out. Pam is a gift, because together we know that we can undermine so many stereotypes and tropes about what Black people have to offer humanity. We're proving that we can work together as male, female, respectfully with our dad and our kids to solve problems no one else is even talking about solving, which proves that we as ADOS, American descendants of slavery, are inferior to no one, but we don't think we're better than anyone. It's just that we have been the sacrificial lamb for so long. The world has moved ahead while we're blamed for everything bad. And we're here to prove that, wait a second, when we live up to our potential, we give people a reason to be more hopeful than they currently are. And if we can solve problems no one else is solving, it kind of undermines the whole philosophy behind the supremacist movements, where Asians, Caucasians, Western chauvinists, white supremacists, feminists, and alphabet people think that we are the disposable, expendable ones, but they need us to have a better tomorrow. What we're here to do is to show that despite what you might think about us, we are a best fit solution to many problems facing humanity. And all we want to do is peacefully coexist with you. But we do not want war. America has been led by someone not representing our best interests. But if you want control over all of that, war powers, power of the purse, if you want to take care of the hunger, the homeless, and the healthcare crisis, and if you want to combat climate change better than anything being offered, then we've got a plan for you. The only thing missing is you. So, be sure to like and share this video, and take the survey, fill out the petition, take the sign there.
Go to VHIERSmovement.com. VHIERSmovement.com. There, you can actually let us know your opinion. If you have questions, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in to Firepower TV, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
Peace.
Oh, yeah, one more thing. Shout out to Al Wilson Jr., Tuskegee Airman, builder of the world's largest Ukrainian church, the Bethany Slavic Missionary Church, where we, as Mobetta veterans and VHIERS, had our first meeting with refugees from Russia, Ukraine, and veterans of numerous wars, and all of us are for peace. That's what this is about.